during the pandemic. I hadn't been making enough as an actor. It was 2017 I started training for a software engineer role, so it took about 5 years because I was self-taught. And then, luckily during the pandemic, I got this job. So it's only been full-time from 22 to 24, really.
During that 2-year period, how did navigating those two radically different worlds protect your relationship with acting?
It was difficult. I felt like I'd committed some sort of big infidelity against acting. The way that screen work works is they expect you to drop everything for a number of weeks, just in case you get the role, particularly commercials, so they're known for that. And I couldn't do that anymore. So it really narrowed down what I could do. I was like, well, I'll keep the games and the audio going because they're much smaller commitments. I'll keep that going, but I'll have to say goodbye to film and theatre and TV, like in earnest, because this is not sustainable. As I said at the top, I'm a storyteller. I don't really care what the medium is. I'm Samantha Béart, and you're listening to Behind the Mic.
Samantha Béart, welcome to the show. It's very, very lovely to have you on. I've been wanting to speak with you for some time because you aren't the first Baldur's Gate 3 actor we've actually interviewed. We've interviewed Rebecca Hansen before, and this is sort of the chaser to that, and it's really nice to speak with you.
Thanks for having me. It's really cool to be on the show.
How exactly did you set onto this path, this career path, this creative path of moving down to being an actor, to pursue so many different mediums and land essentially one of the most recognizable games in the industry, like Baldur's Gate 3?
I've always loved stories and discovered that stage was the storytelling medium that I got the most out of on a really selfish basis. I'm not an extrovert. I do this because the stage is an acceptable place to have some gnarly emotions in public, basically. It's not like it's therapy or anything at all. No, I wouldn't expect that. But it's not just for my benefit. It's an arena that allows us to have conversations about human behavior. Essentially, I think it's really interesting. So my first stage love was Shakespeare. The first professional job was Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which I did for Radio 4. My character Random is in the 5th book. Don't worry if you've not read it. Not many have. It's called Mostly Harmless, but I was in the adaptation of that. And that gave me such a kick up the because I grew up with all those actors, some really big names. Everyone knows Miriam Margolyes now. It's British comedians and stuff you probably wouldn't know, but for me, huge, right? And then I realized I really didn't know what I was doing. So I decided to train, which took some time because I don't come from a family of actors or anything. So did all that and then got out the other end. And of course, you train for stage and screen, essentially, but mainly stage. And then you don't get to choose where you go. After that, we actually went straight into a tour of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, live tour around the UK twice. And a friend of mine, Toby Longworth, has said, you should do Big Finish because you're a girl and they need girl nerds. So you're a nerd, you're a girl. It's before the term non-binary was available to me, but I wasn't quite literally not like other girls. And I ended up doing a lot of Doctor Who and then Torchwood and things like that. And then a Sandman for Audible with Dirk Maggs. And I've had a long running collaboration with Dirk over the years, including Hitchhiker's Guide. Doing bits of stage, but nothing massive. And then, video games. I remember the two inciting incidents, one being just Ezio Auditore in the second batch of Assassin's Creed games, and a Mass Effect, where the performances were mature, and it was reminding me of some really good film and TV that I'd seen, and I love sci-fi. It's my first love. So that was it really. And then the rest is just time and luck and just plugging away. I think I've been doing games for coming up to like 10 years now. I've just been doing it a very long time. And then the call came and it was Baldur's Gate 3, and of course none of us knew that it was going to be as big as it was. So it took a long time to get into the AAA space, officially I guess, but it doesn't really work like that. You don't sort of graduate or anything, you just take the jobs that come in, which is rather wonderful. And Gary Oldman was a big influence. Gary Oldman in the 1990s kids, I'm talking about, not Commissioner Gordon, when he was just playing everything, and that's what I wanted to do as a performer. And this medium, games and audio, has allowed me to do that because his face isn't getting in the way, and it's a rather wonderful thing.
Yeah, and because obviously with a game like Baldur's Gate 3, motion capture being a massive component of it, did that actually enhance the experience of acting in a video game for you? Or was it something that was kind of expected as you progressed in your career?
Yeah, like I said, it doesn't really work like that. It doesn't sort of get harder and harder or more high budget as it goes. It's just the job that comes in. It's a relief in a way because it's more like stage. You just embody that character. We had movement directors like we do in theatre, so it felt like coming home. And I mean, some of the Resident Evil folks have recently said that it's like doing theatre in the round, except you don't have to worry about the people who you've had your back to for the last 5 minutes and then play to them because the cameras are getting everything. And yet there's a camera in your face. Now we didn't do facial capture, but there was a reference for the animators on this. So you've got to bring that down a little bit, make that subtle, but the body needs to be quite big because they're taking your skeleton, and then they're adding animation on top of you. So you've got to give them something. So it's all a bit, it's like a mixing desk to me. And then, yeah, vocally that comes last, really. That's not really what I'm thinking about. It was for someone like Karlach as well, very physically different to me, that I was thinking of that first, making sure that's consistent before we start thinking about anything else.
Karlach is a very widely enjoyed and loved character. They've become an absolute icon with raw vulnerability, infectious joy, and fierce loyalty. When you first stepped into her boots, per se, what was the definitive hook or trait that helped you unlock her voice and physicality?
I don't know. I mean, we had to just get on with it. You had to be good at it on day one. There's no time to go back and forth, but of course things are being tested. So we did her introduction actually, and that was revised quite a bit because we had to work that in with Will. What if Will is chasing after her and there's that story, and then what if he's not there in the camp? How does that change that conversation? What if she's origin character when you first meet? All of that sort of stuff. But you get your kind of character sheet with who she is and her overall arc. So we had some idea, and then it was a case of like, okay, she's a bit of an edgelord, like literally all the other companions. Let's soften her up a bit. Then she was a bit too goofy, and then we sort of split the difference and had that. But she always had that trauma, the trauma of going into hell and being in prison there for 10 years against her will, and the fact that her heart was taken from her. That's the core of that character. Maybe the scene post Gortash, I would say, is the heart of the character. That's a secret that Karlach likes to keep, that she doesn't want to address or name or deal with, because there's no therapy in favour, and there's just a restorative violence, which has its pros and cons.
One of our audio engineers enjoys the fact that she swears so much, and he was kind of asking, like, why does she swear so much as well? Like, would you say that there's more elements of her past that influenced that kind of like a decision, or was that also just part of her character, like when the writers were creating her?
Yeah, that was part of the character. They said to me, like, you're pretty much the only character who's going to swear in this. But she's been to hell. She's been with devils. She has some very rude language, I imagine. Yeah, might have influenced her as well. Who would have thought?
Yeah, it's just like regular casual conversation speak. So
yeah, have you met a British person before?
Yes, yeah. So I live in Scotland, so like, and
I'm
quite used. I'm quite used
word
to it.
That's very, very special in Scotland that you won't hear in that video game.
It's almost not like a normal conversation if they're not swearing, really. But
yeah, you get it then. You get it.
Given your classical training with drama and theater, stepping into that performance capture aspect is literally a digital void with no like props and physical set, and like wearing the suit that doesn't fully match your character's appearance. We kind of spoke on this, but there's also the added element of Baldur's Gate 3 being kind of a blank canvas when it comes to the path that the player will be on. Does that blank canvas ever feel liberating or exhausting compared to traditional stagecraft? Yeah,
so I guess two things to talk about there is very basic sort of first day at drama school. You have 3 years in this country to do it. Training is they take away your props and your costume from you because they want you to paint that with your, I guess, the way you shape that world and your gesture and just what you can bring to it as a human being. So it felt very much like that. We call it black box theatre, which is that. It's a lot of the time when you see a new play in a studio space, it'd be a black room. There might be very little costuming, certainly very little props, or you might have some lighting and sound, but there's not going to be like much in the way of scenery. So that's liberating in its own way. And again, not having to worry about sight lines and everything, this is 360. yeah, it feels like early rehearsal for a new play. So what would happen is, for a new piece of writing, traditionally in the UK at least, the writer will be in the room and they'll be picking up on what you do. And in rehearsal, you're going to start trying different things. You're going to go against maybe what you think what that character would do. And we do it with Karlach, you know, some of her rage is very, very cold. And then that's quite scary, because why not? Because we've been yelling, you know, let's vary it up a bit. And then, you know, she's really serious and all that sort of fun stuff. And it is like every iteration of every conversation ever. And like real life, you know, if you said this other thing to me in a certain way, then I'm going to respond to that in what I think is a suitable way, depending on our relationship. So as a performer, it was just gorgeous to play every iteration of this person possible.
Exactly. And with all those different iterations of the same character, because with Karlach being one of the more well-known roles that you have played, there's obviously a plethora of others you have done. Do you feel that there's a role that perhaps is maybe more appreciated than Karlach?
I mean, there was so much of that. She's so well written, and there's so much with her. It's going to take a lot to top that, I think. But really, it was the amount of material. You know, again, like everyone's Karlach is different. Everyone's Lae'zel is different. It all depends on how you played that and how you relate to the character. If you played as them, you know, there's all of that. I've done some wonderful roles, especially in the last, you know, year and a bit, but they don't compare in terms of scale and opportunity to take them in different directions. And this Baldur's Gate 3 was very different for that.
One of the other roles that you've done, so Darth Nul in Star Wars: The Old Republic, was actually kind of like out of not left field, but it was definitely something that I was very surprised to hear you in as well, because I thoroughly enjoyed playing that game. With the role of Darth Nul, you brought the ancient art of the Sith to a character shrouded in mystery and heavily tied to the deep lore of the universe in Star Wars. How did you approach stepping into a massive foundational legacy franchise like Star Wars?
I mean, it's still blowing my mind. I'm still like, okay, that's a thing that happened. I grew up loving Star Wars. I still love it. I particularly like the extended universe stuff. Yeah, wow. They being Broadsword gave me a lot of information before and where she's going. But yeah, they hyped her for about 4 years. So there's some pressure. But also you do what you do. And I knew I'd be giving you something a bit different than what you might be expecting. So I just had a lot of fun with her. And there's all these different versions of her. Don't want to spoil it, but there are many different hologrammatic representations of this character. So yeah, I got to have lots of fun with these different versions. And it would be like, okay, so you're at this bit, you're definitely Jedi Renaya, and then you're going to be more Sithy in this bit you're a bit more grey area, this and you're just pure AI. And so that was, I just love all that. I love to keep it moving, keep changing, keep surprising people.
Yeah, and you'll definitely keep doing that throughout your career. I have no doubt.
I hope so.
Your performances are top notch, because obviously with you being BAFTA nominated as well, and then with all of the progress you've made in your career, like with gaming media and then radio dramas as well before, and all sorts of things like that, I have no doubt that you're going to be doing a lot more incredible work, and I can't wait to hear what you have to do. But that's more for the future. But the term voice acting is becoming a little more inaccurate than it once was, because it's more limiting given the scope of so many different projects like modern games, advertising, animations, and things like that. So if we were to completely reframe how the public, how many audiences and the broader entertainment industry view actors in these kinds of projects, how would you define the terminology that we should be using?
Acting.
Simply acting.
That's the answer. I think you have people out there like Steve Blooms, right, who are vocal athletes, and I can't do what he does, and I don't get employed to do what he does. Do you know what I mean? He's like a person possessed. That's a pure voice actor. That is absolutely, like, I'm not trying to take that away, but it's such a specialization, you know, and they're doing animation, they may be doing some factual stuff as well. They might be, you know, making a living doing commercials. I'm not doing any of that. I'm just doing video games. And a lot of the time I'm being asked to physicalize that. So yeah, it raises my work to only refer to me as a voice actor, but also the work of all those people that get to work on that, the data, the animators, cinematics, all the people that make that happen. It's a real shame if we take that out of the picture. And also, like, if say you get a pure voice actor who's not done anything physical before, you put them in a mocap suit, they're going to struggle. If you put me on an animation and say do 10 different voices of like the same age, you know, they're all school kids, they're in kindergarten, whatever, I'm going to really struggle. So, you know, it's about limitation, but it's about accuracy as well. I've seen people getting very German with the naming, as in they just make it longer. They'll go, oh, you did mocap and voice acting. Okay, it's just acting. It's just acting at this point. Let's just call it that.
It is all the same thing, because realistically you're embedding the same passion for the craft, whether it's on camera or off camera.
But then that makes stage acting body acting, and it makes movies face acting. So it's weird that we talk about the part of the body it's coming out of as opposed to medium. I wouldn't mind games actor, wouldn't mind that at all, but that would fit in more with movie actor and stage actor. But it's a weird vocal tick we have, I think.
It's not a massive overhaul, it's just literally calling it acting. That's all we need to do. There's nothing more.
Please.
Now, when you started on your acting career, you were also doing full-time work in addition to the roles that you were working on. One thing that really impressed me was that you were managing to do a full-time software consultancy in addition to doing your voice acting, your acting roles.
Right, so let's put this in time. So 2022, during the pandemic, I hadn't been really making enough as an actor. I'd say I still don't really. They're paying us the same rates they've been paying us for 30 years, kids. We don't get royalties. But it was 2017 I started training for a software engineer role. So it took about 5 years because I was self-taught. I didn't go to a college for a third time. And then, yeah, luckily during the pandemic, I got this job. So it's only been full-time from 22 to 24, really. It wasn't before that. I was doing all sorts of out-of-work actor jobs for minimum wage, and I finally wanted to be paid quite nicely, which I was. But again, I know some actors like to talk about the length of the contract. So they'll say they worked on a game for 2 years, which always makes it sound like it's full time. It's not. It'll be a number of sessions over that time. So with Baldur's Gate 3, I was very lucky that they were able to accommodate me evenings and weekends. And even then, it was every other day. So it wasn't full on, but yes, I was doing a 40-hour week, and it was a wonderful relief because that was a very sedentary job. With Baldur's Gate, every session was 4 hours of standing and yelling, which I quite enjoyed.
Wow, yeah, 'cause I would personally, I would find that exhausting, but I don't know if that just says I'm more lazy than anything. But yeah,
do you know what? Adrenaline does a lot for you.
Yeah, because when it's something you are passionate about and you're also getting paid to do it as well, when you combine those two, I'm sure the adrenaline does take over. Absolutely.
It's fun. And it's a wonderful piece of work as well, which you think no one's going to play, but this is a fun little career highlight for you, and we didn't have to learn it. It was on a screen. It's all good. You got people helping you. Yeah, it was good fun.
Yeah. Were you surprised when you found out how well Baldur's Gate had taken off?
Yes, of course I was. I mean, I knew it was excellent. I knew it was a fantastic piece. And there's other games I've been in which fulfill that criteria, but they're not as big and not as many people played them. Yeah. You get lucky sometimes. And to any actors watching, that's never ever phone it in.
No.
You never know what's going to be a hit and what you're going to be known for. So only take the roles that you really believe in.
And how did navigating, during that 2-year period, how did navigating those two radically different worlds protect your relationship with acting?
It was difficult. I felt like I'd committed some sort of big infidelity against acting, because it meant, the way that screen work works is they expect you to drop everything for a number of weeks. Just in case you get the role, particularly commercials, so they're known for that. And I couldn't do that anymore. So it really narrowed down what I could do. And I was like, well, I'll keep the games and the audio going because they're much smaller commitments. I'll keep that going, but I'll have to say goodbye to film and theatre and TV, in earnest, because this is not sustainable. It's still not sustainable. I got very lucky. So, but as I said at the top, I'm a storyteller. I don't really care what the medium is, to be honest. I do have to be known to some degree because that will help me get the next job. So it's a funny old balance, but it's a good place to be in right now. It's you're at the interactive stories are getting adapted into TV all the time now. That seems to be the rage. And, even if mainstream media doesn't want to cover us, our fans, our players say otherwise. So it's just been really great.
Yeah, because like obviously if a project like The Last of Us got their own HBO adaptation, are you expecting, or would you expect to be kind of like tapped for a role in an adaptation of Baldur's Gate or any other?
If you've checked out the press releases, it's very clear that's what Craig wants to do.
I totally missed that. Oh my word.
Check out
that
the
makes
press
me look
release.
so...
It's all in there. I've known him since BAFTA Breakthrough, which is 2003, because, he did Last of Us and he cast Troy Baker, and I thought he's not snobby about actors who are known for games or voice acting going in. And obviously I love Chernobyl, and I couldn't believe it was the guy who did Mythic Quest did Chernobyl.
Yeah.
And then it turns out he was a Karlach mancer as well. So I was like, come on, we gotta meet. So we've met a couple of times, and he wrote something for me to say in interviews when I get asked this, because I knew I'd get asked this, and I'm the one who gets quoted, not him. So he intends to involve the actors of Baldur's Gate 3 in some way, whether that is as our characters or something new. Bear in mind that it's set immediately after the events of Baldur's Gate 3. I think a lot of any controversy on this game has been on the idea that he's setting some sort of canon on a game that doesn't have any. That's not true. It's going to be set directly after, and a lot of us aren't knocking around after. So he'll try, but I have impressed it upon him that the vast majority of the actors are stage and screen trained. So if you could audition us for stuff, that would be good. But I'll take it. I'm gonna say no, I'm an actor.
Exactly. And because this is already why we need to just call it acting instead of voice acting, because if you're classically trained, if you are able to do it on screen, that just makes it much easier for you to get both, like, work on the same project but in two different mediums. So like,
we'll see, won't we? Because again, if you're known as a weird thing, it works one way. If you're from film and TV theatre, you can go into games, but on the other side, if you're known for games, it's very hard to go into film and TV. And again, if I'd let that slide over the years, if I'd said I'm a voice actor, I wouldn't have maybe even been having that conversation with Craig, because an executive will go, well, what the hell do they know? They've never and of course the two things I never trained for was audio and for games. So it's all coming from that theatre training, all of it. So that, again, that's what, I could go and train as a voice actor, and then I would have a different career because I'd be doing more animation and stuff like that. But at the moment, I'm kind of busy. So I'll let the professionals do that.
Yeah. Would you say for like someone maybe starting out, this is kind of a two-parter question actually, would you say that probably don't just focus on being a voice actor?
Unless that's really what you want to do. It's just, in America, you have some sort of industry in it. In the UK, we don't. So it depends where you're based as well. Other countries do extensive dubbing work. Again, in the UK, we don't dub, we use subtitles, or we remake sometimes. So the market is a lot smaller in the UK. So it all depends on who you are and what you're doing. Also, why you're doing it. If you think it's just doing funny voices, then go for it. But if you want to get these, deep narrative, more grounded performances seems to be in right now, which is good for people like me and other folks that have the training that we have. That might flip any time and they want something heightened, in which case I won't be working as much. So, as ever, like, research and know what you're getting into before you jump in. I think people are very keen to get started and make the money, and spoilers, there's not much money in it. So there's some really good guides out there. D. Bradley Baker's website, iwannabeavoiceactor.com specifically, I would say. That's a really good one. That's everything you want on there. And Julia Bianca Shuffling's book, The Art and Business of Acting for Video Games. And page 1, again, spoilers, are you an actor? If not, be an actor, then come back. If so, please carry on reading. It is the most important thing, is that you understand that bit.
I hope no one was expecting spoilers for that.
I care not for your spoilers.
Exactly. If it's been out for some time, it's kind of on you at that point, really. Now, for the second part of that. So, for you during the COVID period, full-time employment really did help you. But even today, there is quite a bit of concern amongst the young generation, so Gen Z and younger, with regards to like cost of living and things like that. Would you say it's actually more important to be able to navigate two careers full time? So like if they work in acting, they should always have the full-time employment no matter how successful they get?
Well, the old advice for all this, before these kids were born, and I kind of aged out of it as well, was to get a flexible part-time job that you can drop at any point. doesn't really exist anymore. Unless, I mean, waitering in the States, you can make a lot of money if you're good and you get your tips. The UK, you're going to get minimum wage, that'll be it. Those sort of survival jobs have become 0 hours jobs. And in the UK, my experience at least, those have become, it becomes like a skeleton crew. There's no cover for you. So you get that job and you leave, there's nothing to come back to because you've upset HR. I wouldn't necessarily recommend a full-time job. Because you need that flexibility, especially if you're an actor, because you don't get to choose what medium you work in, you need that flexibility to be around. But, you know, the industry at large still expects you to drop everything a last minute's notice. And God forbid you have caregiving responsibilities, because a lot of them don't care. That's just a fact. So if you can find a way of getting income some way, then do that. You might be lucky, you might be rich, you might come into some inheritance, you might be so senior at your tech job that you can kind of go away and come back. But I think the most important thing is just make sure you've got that roof over your head, because belief isn't going to do it. Opportunity takes years, luck comes when it comes, and that requires a certain amount of privilege to be able to go to things and meet people in person. That seems to still be the way to get the work. So yeah, I'd say definitely don't be the poor starving artist, because you will starve to death, especially in today's economy. But yeah, it's rough out there. And even now, like in tech, I mean, we talk about AI and voice acting. AI's come for tech before it came for actors. You know, we talk about it as if it's the very beginning of it. It's not. It's come for the judiciary, it's come for education, it's come for everything. And yeah, I won't go into it because we haven't got forever, but you know.
Yeah, it gets into quite an extensive branched conversation when it comes to AI, but it's like quite simply
I definitely in my job, my old job, which was infrastructure engineer, I'd be scripting my way out of a job right now, so that job would be gone.
Yeah. No. With things like this, it's just like, oh, like, why couldn't you have like an AI like person interview someone? I'm like, well, because you don't have a story there. It in fact, like, with regards to that, in some aspects, when there's so many AI tools available, it actually lends more credibility to human-made productions and human-made projects. To be able to just say like, oh, no AI was used on it, it really just elevates the quality and the story behind it, because you have so many people who are dedicated to, like yourself, and the people you interview on It Takes a Village, to really bring a project together that's beloved by many. So like, there's always that point of view to look at when it comes to AI. No matter how advanced it gets, there's always that positive aspect to look at, because people still don't like fully embrace it, but only time will tell, really, I guess.
Time will tell. Yeah, I was going to say that bubble I've been promised is going to burst anytime soon. Still waiting.
I was here. It's not so much a burst. It's more like a deflation. Basically, it's just like, oh, it's not going to be instantaneous, like where everything just goes back to normal. But again,
I don't know if I can do a third or fourth once in a lifetime recession. I'm done with these.
No,
I'm so done with it.
Of course. Now, with acting behind a mic, there's a massive portion of performances that involve like, grunts, death sounds, combat noises, intense emotion. Beyond the physical strain that a voice can have with that, these sounds require quite a lot of intensity. So when it comes to your performances, how do you approach the technical and vocal geometry of like a mid-swing grunt, for example?
Yes, it's a mixture of what the devs want and what I can give them technique-wise. So another great thing about a classical stage training is that you are trained to speak on the biggest stages in the world unamplified. So if you are in a production with lots of violence or just yelling, you know how to support from your diaphragm. If you don't have that, take singing classes. If you're a singer, it's the same muscle, and it's wonderful, and it won't. But you need to be authentic with it. You can't fake those noises. So what you want to do is get them right the first time and have a safety so they have something to use. With any luck, the devs will be able to show you what that looks like in game. When I did the player character for Demon's Souls some years ago, you had to time those efforts to the visual in front of you. So they play it on a loop, which was great. Then you've got to give them some variations, and they will take exactly that. It's a mid-swing, you've been punched in the gut, you've been strangled, you've been thrown off a ledge on fire at 20 feet, it's all that sort of stuff. And you get used to it over time. It's never really fun. You just got to make sure you sound like you're grunting and you're not on the toilet, and vary it up. Death Cries, still working on those. They always sound a bit weird to me because I haven't died in real life, so I don't really know what that sounds like. But you have a lot of support on the day. You've got the devs, you've got writers, you've got people who record this stuff for a living, and just work together, get that done. And thankfully, they'll always put it at the end of the session if they don't ask them to, because again, you might lose your voice doing that.
Samantha, we have some quick fire questions we'd like to ask you. Now, what is a line that you've recorded that is still in your head?
God, there's so many. I did one the other day, which for War of the Western Deep, which is in demo, just for context, which was the door to the apothecary is still closed on account of the apothecary being closed. And that will stay with me for a while because I love a bit of sassy point and click. Next question, please.
Can you sum up your acting career in one word?
Varied.
What is the weirdest thing you've done physically to get a voice right?
Oh, yeah, that was Demon Souls. You just bounce around the room to get that noise out of you. It's a strange experience, but apparently they were happy. They kept my performance.
Awesome. And are there any dream projects that you'd be eager to be a part of?
Yes, but I don't want to jinx things by naming them.
Fair enough. What's been one of your favorite vocal performances that you have heard?
I forgot because I don't do the voice acting thing, and then very occasionally I have to push it somewhere it doesn't normally go. And it's just been announced, Stronghold 4. I get to do some fun stuff in that, and that'll be in demo next week. So you might actually get to experience that. But I forgot I did the character, which sounds like a flex. I thought I'd be recast. Because what you hear in your own body versus what the mic picks up, very different things.
No, fantastic. Samantha, thank you so much for joining me today. This was a lovely experience, and I loved all the answers that you gave.
That's the correct answer, Tano. I won't be coming around to deal out some restorative violence. It was an absolute pleasure to meet you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Behind the Mic. If you enjoyed the conversation and you want to hear more from the voices behind your favorite characters, then be sure to follow us on Spotify and subscribe to us on YouTube. And don't forget to check out our other interviews as well as voiceover tips and industry news at Voquent.com or on our social media. See you next time.